Many have tried, most have failed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good, and welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Join my best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
Ray, I'm good. You know what, Ray? Pretty sweet. But you're not as sweet as today's non-sponsor, Splenda, when I put in all of my coffee. I really enjoy Splenda. Not only does it have 0-calorie sweetener, there's a lot of research out there that shows that if you put this in your coffee, you will enjoy the coffee more. I ignore all the other research because this Splenda is so sweet that it brightens my day. I prefer it over traditional sugar, and the box just happens to be in a similar color scheme as my company, Hockey Wraparound. So today's non-sponsor, Splenda, one a day, keeps your coffee sweeter than if it wasn't there.
I unfortunately am not allowed to have milk or coffee or sugar in my coffee anymore, so...
Well, it's a good thing, right? Because Splenda is not sugar; it's something else, and that's where we're gonna stop. It's something else.
It's something else. That is their tagline. That's their new tagline. You should hire us as your marketing team, Splenda. It's
Splenda.
Something else.
It's something else. Yeah, that's what it is, and I'm fine with that.
That works. I'm glad you can have your Splenda.
Well, I wonder if you've seen that little commercial, Ray. That's like it says something like Splenda, it makes you enjoy your coffee more. You ever see that commercial where it's like, did you know that if you stop drinking coffee, it'll ruin 90% of your day?
No, I didn't. That makes a lot of sense.
That's why I enjoy my Splenda. I enjoy my coffee. I don't drink 17 cups a day like some people.
No.
But I do 2 to 3 a day, and a Splenda accompanies most cups.
There you go. So
Splenda.
That's
something else.
You've got the Steiner math working there. So
I look okay.
Yeah, you're doing fine, buddy. You're doing fine.
I'm making it work.
We've had a lot of breaking news today, so we've got a big episode coming up for you, folks. We've got a lot of obviously video game and comic book stuff, and a lot of TV news actually. And it's actually going to probably kind of go both into our sports and geek section because some of it is sports related and some of it is just entertainment related. So
geeks and sports, that'll never work.
I know. What are we doing? But we've got also, of course, a lot of stuff going on in sports. The big stuff, of course, it's the NBA and NHL playoffs. We're going to kick things off with hockey as we usually do. Lee,
yes.
I'm very, very concerned about my Rangers.
Yeah, you would be, Ray. There's nothing to be concerned about.
I am worried. I'm worried, Lee. Tell me why I shouldn't be worried.
Because Carolina's a good team. They honestly barely won game 4.
Yes.
Game 3 was really a 1-goal game. The Rangers took a period off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think you're fine. I do. The Rangers are a great team. Coming back from 3-0 is nearly impossible. I do not think the Rangers are the type of team that's going to allow that to happen. It's the NHL playoffs. The odds of you going undefeated, those were worse odds than you not losing a game.
Sure.
Right? So just you're fine. I have a lot of faith in the Rangers. I think that this is actually a positive in the sense of on the road to the cup, you're not invincible now.
Right.
And I don't think Carolina's picking you apart. I think that the Rangers play kind of came down a notch for one period. Maybe they got tired. There's a lot of things that could have happened.
Yeah.
And again, that's a series, Ray, that could easily have been 2-1 Carolina. So I'm not I'm not surprised that they're fighting to stay alive. And again, the third period in the last game in game 6. Game 5. Was the first time I've seen them slow down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to continue. I think that team is going to get ready to come back.
No, I agree. They did look a half step behind themselves in the third period. And I think that I mentioned this yesterday to you. I think the fact that there's now 2 days before game 6
it's a good
actually is in our favor, I think, actually. It allows them to catch up.
I'm going to say it again. Even should you lose game 6, you're back at the Garden for game 7. That's a scenario the New York Rangers are well versed in.
Yes.
So I'm not too worried about that situation. If anything, it's more of a, hey, good on Carolina for making the series out of
it. Yeah, I guess. I guess good on Carolina. Other series, a lot of 3-1 series that could be finished off tonight. Boston, Florida. To be fair, the refs might have swallowed their whistle a little bit a couple of times, but Florida has really come in and hit Boston in the mouth, and Boston has had no response, particularly since Brad Marchand, I mean, quite literally getting hit in the mouth. Since
sure,
had no response since then. Lee, what are your thoughts? Does Florida finish it off tonight in Game 5? Does Boston bounce back? Is it basically a foregone conclusion at this point that Florida will be the team that either the Rangers or Carolina face in the Eastern Conference Final?
I don't know. Why don't you ask Boston and Florida last year when Boston was up 3-1 in the same exact type of situation, and then Florida stormed back and won the entire series. So, like, that's my message right now if I'm the Boston Bruins of, hey, guys, we owe these guys some payback for last year, and they've just gifted us a scenario for us to do that. Very hard to come back from 3-1. The Boston Bruins are a very good team. None of these teams are going to go down without a fight.
Yeah.
Right. So Boston Bruins are a team that are more than capable of competing with this Florida team. And again, this is the exact same scenario opposite that these two teams were in last year. So you got to play all the games. It's very hard to win for. Florida has absolutely been the better team in this series so far. Yeah. But I would be shocked if Boston rolls over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll roll over, but they definitely just seem to be outmatched in particular. I mean, in Game 4, I think Boston was up 2-0, even though Florida was out shooting them, and then Florida just kept chipping away and kept fighting back, and then Boston just kind of collapsed. Be interesting to see what happens, but Marchand's still out for Game 5, and yeah, I kind of just I can't pick against Florida right now. At least in this series, I just think Boston looks beat up and
they may be.
Yeah,
they may be, but like when you get to these elimination games, man, you always got something a little extra here. So we'll see what happens.
That is true. They say it is the hardest game to win is the last one, the one to knock the other team out. So one team there will be no risk of an elimination tonight, Vancouver versus Edmonton. Vancouver up 2-1 in that series. And as it has been the case in years past, Edmonton's goaltending is betraying them. After a great series against the Kings, Stuart Skinner has come back down to earth hard. And again, Vancouver, even though Edmonton is out shooting Vancouver by a 2-1 margin most games, it's Vancouver finding the back of the net more often than not. Besser has been absolutely unbelievable for Vancouver after slowing down at the end of the regular season, even though he had a 40-goal year. Really has found his stride here in the playoffs. And Edmonton looks to be just a bit, again, kind of like Toronto. You shut down that top line with Draisaitl and McDavid, and they said it. There's only been 2 goals this entire playoffs that Edmonton has scored without McDavid or Draisaitl on the ice. You shut them down, you can win these games, and that's what Vancouver has done, at least in terms of the first 2 out of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, let's not forget Vancouver was the second best team in the league this year behind the New York Rangers. They're very deep. They have a lot of depth, but they don't have his playoff experience, and that's what the Edmonton Oilers do have. We've commented a lot of times on that top line. Their bottom lines have to step up tonight if they want to continue in the series. But again, a 2-1 series lead is not death by any means. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, this is why you got to play the whole series. Edmonton has enough talent to get themselves into this series and make it a long series. Sure. And they're used to kind of coming from behind in these types of situations. So we'll see what happens. A lot of this comes down to coaching. You said it perfectly about goaltending and depth. If Edmonton's third and fourth line cannot produce, like any team in the playoffs, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, for sure. Also, Susi, I think his name Susi, got suspended for this game for Vancouver for a hit after the final horn blew in Game 3. To be Juleson taking his spot tonight. Lee, did you see that hit? What did you think of that? McDavid clearly slashed Susi, and then he obviously retaliated, and it was people were like, "Oh, he hit him in the neck." It was a little bit also that. I can't think of his name, Nadarov or something. It was
a little bit of a series of unfortunate events. He cross-checked McDavid in the back, forward into the stick.
Yeah,
of Susi. So here's the deal. Yes, anytime head contact is made, it should be a suspension. You cannot cross-check the best player in the league in the face, whether you meant to or not. You're going to get punished for that. Yeah. That's just the way it is. All right, that's it. I mean, we're lucky McDavid is not hurt, because that would have been horrible if he broke his jaw or something on that situation. You know, he may have.
Series would be over.
Yeah, so it's one of those things of I don't care that you slash that. People slash all the time. You can't cross-check a guy in that area and not have a consequence for it. That's the league wide. I'm joking about the McDavid thing. Yeah, although I'm sure that played into it.
I'm sure that made it just a little bit easier to make that decision. Absolutely. Yeah. And then, of course, the final series, Colorado versus Dallas. Dallas up 3-1 after Colorado stormed that Amazing comeback in game 1 to win in overtime. Almost did it again in game 2. And then Dallas has really kind of taken a stranglehold on this series. And also some really bad news for Colorado. Val Nichushkin, I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly, is going to be suspended for the next 6 months with no pay. Sounds like something drug related. Again, don't know all the details on that, but it is an unfortunate event. He is obviously a great player for them when he's on the ice and when he has his head right. And clearly his head is not right, and now they will be out without him, not only for the rest of the playoffs, but also for next year, and probably they're saying that he's basically done in the NHL after this. This is not a good sign for him. And so Lee, with all this stuff going on, all these distractions, can Colorado stage a comeback? Can they use this as motivation, or are the Avalanche going to get buried under a weight of all their problems, and will Dallas advance to the Western Conference Final?
Look, you can always find a way back, and you can use anything as motivation. I think it's tough that you lose a teammate. In a lot of ways, the accountability is it's all completely on him, but also his teammates of how did nobody see that this was happening. Again, just so people understand, a 6-month suspension means this is the 3rd failed drug test that he's had in his career. There is a stage 4, which is a year suspension, but suddenly you're a liability to your team. Typically, this means some hard drugs are going through his body. So it's a shame. It's a major distraction. But if they can adapt and, adopt the world against us kind of mentality, Colorado Avalanche are more than capable of getting out of this hole and getting back into the series. Again, 3-1 is always tough, but it's not insurmountable. We've seen it a lot over the last 10, 15 years in multiple sports. Dallas is very strong. But, it's going to be on Colorado to figure this out. All right. And again, you got to take a breath and kind of come back at it. But you got to play the games. No, I don't see any of these elimination games going quietly. Again, you know what I mean? Nobody looks dead to me. They just look like they're in a tight spot.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, the Rangers and Carolina Thursday is game 6. We'll see what happens with these games 4 and 5s tonight. It'll be interesting to see where that all goes. Moving over to the NBA now, a bit more even, surprisingly. Honestly, I'm very surprised. I want to kick things off with Minnesota and Denver. Minnesota and Denver tied at 2. Minnesota went into Denver, won the first 2 games handily, and then Denver showed why they're the defending champs. They went to Minnesota, did the exact same thing. This series is now tied at 2 games apiece. It's a best of 3. Lee, I can't call this series because every game it's a completely different story. I had Denver at the beginning of this series. Then after the Minnesota one went up 2-0, it's like, well, it's got to be Minnesota. And now it's like, how do you not go back to Denver now at this point? Literally going back to Denver.
I never make calls on playoffs based on the first 2 games ever. I think after game 3, you can start to think that way. But the truth is this: the momentum is in the Nuggets' house right now. They won 2 on the road. They've got the last 2 wins. They're going home. But in this situation, when you go 2-2 away, that home game is everything. Basically, whoever wins at home wins the series. Right. And so that's kind of what happens here is if you can win, it's like a pivotal game 5 now. Right. If Denver wins that game, it's huge. Right. But it's one of those things. This may go 7. Right. But I'd say momentum's in Denver's front right now. They won last year. They know what it takes. They have 2 wins in a row. They're going home. If you put a Star Wars blaster to my neck, Denver's who I'm leaning towards right now. But look, man, like I said, people are always so quick. Oh, they got this one won. Like, what do you do? No one ever has it won until it's won.
Yeah.
And I always tell sports fans, you don't sound cool to me when you can say something like, oh, my team's up 3-0. They're going to win. Like, no shit. I mean, like, you don't say that. You know what I mean? Like you play the games. That's the way it is. It's a win or a loss, and you go to the next game and you try and survive.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality of these athletes, right? Nobody's looking at it like I mean, I really don't think the Rangers were like, oh, we're up 3-0. We have this. I didn't see that in their play.
No.
What I do see is a team we're going to get eliminated if we don't win.
Yes.
All right.
There's a desperation to Carolina. For sure.
And that's, I'll be honest with you, with the Rangers and some of the, even Colorado, it's like you need to kind of activate that desperation sometimes to survive.
Yeah. In fact, Laviolette talked about that a little bit today, actually, in his when talking to the press. So for the Rangers. So because of course he was part of the last 0-3 comeback. He was the coach for your
coach Flyers. Philadelphia Flyers. I remember it well against the Boston Bruins in 2010. Yep. The point is this: if you lay over, if you think you're going to lose, it's over. And again, fans, have no idea what the mindset is in the locker room at this time of year. No sports team in professional sports goes up 2-0, goes, yeah, we got this. Nobody thinks that way.
Yeah.
All right. I can tell you. And same thing adversely. They're down 2-0, 3-0. Nobody thinks, oh, we're done.
Right.
All right. That's why they're professionals, though, because they don't think that way.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just again, the only teams in the playoffs this year that legit had no chance in my mind, it's easy to say now, but I said this before the playoffs, is the Capitals and Islanders.
Islanders and Capitals,
yeah. I said that. There's no chance, right? And now that they're out of the way, anybody can get there, but Absolutely. You got to play the games. And the same thing in the NBA. Excuse me, I brought that back to hockey by accident. This is where my mind goes.
Well, I mean, I did also by bringing up Laviolette with your Flyers.
No, it's. I love seeing 2-2 series. I love seeing you don't know which way it's going to go. And hey, fans out there listening, you don't have to choose. Just enjoy the basketball. Just enjoy the hockey. You don't have to choose.
Yep.
All right. I mean, if you're betting on it, you made a choice. That was a choice.
Yeah.
You know what makes a choice sweeter way? Splenda. If you lose and you put Splenda in your coffee, you'll be awake, you'll have a sweet coffee, and you'll be upset. But it'll be sweeter because of Splenda.
It's something else.
It's something else.
The one team in the NBA that is having to put a little desperate right now is Cleveland is on the verge. Boston up 3-1 in that series. They've been dominating.
Yeah,
no surprise.
That's not surprising, yeah.
That is the one series with the NBA playoffs where, I think the Celtics, they were the favorites to at least win the East. By a long shot, best team in the NBA this year. Cleveland was lucky to get through the Magic, and I think it's just a matter of talent. I think, again, I'd be surprised if tomorrow night Boston does not win this in 5.
Yeah, they should be going to the final this year. I'm sorry, the finals in basketball. Our annual, I don't understand why they phonetically messed. There's only one final, but that's okay.
It's the final. It's
the finals.
Final. But and the other series in the West, Oklahoma City, the Thunder stormed a huge comeback in Game 4 to even that series at 2. It looked like Dallas and their playoff experience was going to win the day because, again, even though the Thunder were the 1 seed, a lot of young guys there, not a lot of experience, but they stage a comeback, tie that series as 2 now, back to Oklahoma, which should be interesting. And this is another series where I'm leaning towards the Thunder just because they have home court advantage now in the final 3 games, but Dallas has all the experience. This is going to be another fun one to see in the West. Who comes out of this one?
Yeah, no, it is going to be interesting. I mean, the NBA playoffs have been a welcome surprise in the second round this year. And
yes,
like I said, I'm all for parity in the NBA. It's rare.
Yes.
But we're seeing a little bit of it, and we'll see what happens beyond this. But if it's Boston versus the Nuggets in the final,
well, then it's like, it's what we all thought all along anyway, right? It doesn't matter how we got here. It was just, but
that's always been my problem with the NBA is that I can with great accuracy predict the final 4 teams that could potentially make the final. In the NHL, it's very hard to do that.
Absolutely. But
and actually, all sports now, every sport but the NBA is hard to predict.
100%. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. And but I will say I saved the most heartbreaking series for me for last. My Knicks. I'm wearing my Knicks orange. I got my Knicks shirt on today. Heading back to the Garden, tied at 2. We won the first 2 at the Garden. We lost the last 2 in Indiana. The worst part of that is the Knicks got very banged up over the last several games. They are very injured. And I'm not making excuses here, but especially in basketball, if 3 of your starting 5 cannot play, that is a problem. You have a problem.
You have a problem.
And so even if Indiana should win this series, I will say, because I also say this, if the Knicks are healthy, the Knicks defense is the one thing that could give the Boston Celtics an issue in the Eastern Conference Final. But if the Knicks are banged up and if Indiana wins this, then Boston, I think, will handle Indiana the way they're handling Cleveland right now. They will absolutely roll right over them. And this is not anything to take away from Halliburton or anybody else there in Indiana. It's just, it is a fact. Like, Boston is stacked, and Indiana's game, much like Cleveland's game, does not match up well against what the Celtics do. The Knicks, on the other hand, yes, does Boston still have more talent? Yes, but the Knicks play a style of game and defense that could pull off an upset. If it's Indiana-Boston, just give it to Boston already. But here's the thing. Can the Knicks, banged up, depleted, on the ropes, even though they're tied at 2, pull this out? I am hopeful. I am cautiously optimistic, but it's not looking good, Lee. What are your thoughts on Knicks and Pacers?
Yeah, look, man, we talk about this. Probably the biggest factor to winning is health. You have got to stay healthy. And if you lose that, that's the biggest factor to take you away from it.
Yep.
Ray, I'm just say it again. You got to play the games. And some of these guys have to step up in these situations. You've seen magical runs by people that you wouldn't expect before. And that's what the Knicks are going to need to do here. And you've got some of those players. But look, if you go out due to injuries, you think you can use that as an excuse, to be fair to you, right? That's what happens, right? But Ray, isn't it nice that both of your teams are in the playoffs right now and you get to enjoy the stress and the highs and the lows of two of your teams being in the playoffs at the same time while I sit here and watch the Phillies?
It's nice when we win.
Oh, you're one of those guys. One of those guys, right?
Well, because I get the agita. I can't deal with the agita.
There's no gratitude for just the postseason in general.
No, we need to win. I want to win.
I get it. I get it. I do too. I do too.
Look, I am very happy they're there. I'm very happy they're all playing well, but I'm also very stressed.
I completely understand. It's completely stress-free when your teams aren't there. It's very easy to sit here and poke at bears like, Ray that just wants his teams to win. He wants them to win. I want to win. I get it.
I want them to win the game.
I did.
Yes. So, and the thing is when you don't win, what ends up happening is people get fired.
Get sacked.
A lot of already the coaching carousel in both sports happening. The Lakers fired their coach after 2 years. The Suns fired their coach after a single year. And the Leafs fired Sheldon Keefe. We've got firings all over in NBA and NHL. And honestly, Lee, I don't think it's the coach's faults in any of these cases.
No, it
Lee,
really is.
What are your thoughts on all of the coach? It feels like somebody's head has to roll because again, the team full of superstars underperformed on the biggest stage.
Yeah, look, man, here's the deal. I can tell you this as a coach. You need the time to put in your philosophy, to build that team bond, to build that team culture, and none of these guys are giving them any time to do that. And it's especially in Toronto. And I know what happened there was that, it's a new GM and that Sheldon Keefe wasn't his coach. He wants to put his guy in there. You're never going to build any kind of culture if you keep firing these coaches. You see this in European football all the time. You see it in other sports. Yes, there are scenarios where coaches lose the locker room and coaches get old in the locker room. It doesn't happen after 1 year.
No.
And a lot more players saying, I don't want to play for that guy. Well, look, takes two to tango here. Players play the games 100%, but you need a good person to lead that and manage that team if you want to win. So 1 year firings to me are a joke.
Yeah.
And again, Sheldon Keefe, who's been there for more than one season, teams seem to be going in the right direction. They were very unfortunate in the playoffs. Their best player got severely ill.
Yeah.
They were fighting each other on the bench a little bit. I don't know if that's the coach's fault. Maybe you should break up the big four and spread that talent around a little bit more. Then maybe that team will have a better success. Firing the coach ain't going to do it.
Well, and that's the thing. And again, we mentioned with Edmonton, Toronto's a top-heavy team. They've always been a top-heavy team. They have mediocre to above-average goaltending at best. Yeah. But we have no defense, and they have nobody past the top
Again,
line.
They lost their hot goalie. They lost their best scorer, and we're firing the coach after a fall. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. And the same thing with the Suns. I mean, look, you had this great run with them. You have the talent there with Booker and Durant and all that. And then, you got swept in the first round. But at that point, it didn't feel like the coach again after 1 year too.
It's the ego, man. It's the ego of these guys. It's just the GMs. And again, I'm not there. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. There are scenarios where a coach should be fired after that amount of time. But
it does sound like in Phoenix that the Suns owner is a bit too hands-on and may not know a thing or two about basketball. And so there's been there's been reports of that, a bit of blowback about that. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in Phoenix. Yeah, as they move on.
Now solely a basketball city.
That's right. That's right. Although hockey may return there one day.
They say that. I don't think it's going to happen. Everybody keeps saying that. I'm like, no, guys. There's other cities that are going to get a team before Phoenix does.
I mean, to be fair, they do have baseball and football too. But
I know. It's just in terms of Phoenix, there's only one Phoenix teams left. I know the Arizona teams are
right. Well, yes, they play in. Yes, Arizona plays technically in the Phoenix area, the Diamondbacks and whatnot.
No hockey team. Utah,
the Blizzard,
Salt Lake City, the Yeti.
Yes. So that should be interesting. Actually, I'm looking forward to that. I think that those folks up there will support hockey and be very grateful.
They've almost already sold out of season tickets. I mean, crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's a
they
bad
had to prove
team.
the
Like
point.
that roster still sucks.
Yeah, well,
Like,
they're not as bad as they were, but I will say this: that the fact that Utah sold out a full NHL arena already when the Coyotes could barely sell out a college arena tells you something.
yeah.
I feel bad for the fans of the Coyotes, I really do, but I'm
Yes.
also a realist.
Yes.
And that's been 15 years of these conversations. It was time for
Yes.
that team to move.
Yeah, you got to put butts in seats.
Yeah, same thing with Atlanta. Show up if you want your hockey team to be there.
Heck, and don't forget, Pittsburgh almost went to Kansas City.
Oh my God! A lot of Penguins
and
fans
might again the way things are going.
I love to remind Penguins fans that their team almost went under before Sidney Crosby was drafted, and they act like they're so high and mighty. I said, you guys were almost gone.
Penguin fans are the worst fans. And I can tell you that from firsthand experience because I lived there for 6 months.
Hey, let's not talk about that. I want to talk about this next thing on this rundown here, Ray. It says raised special sports.
Oh, we're going to get to that. We're not done. We're not done with hockey.
Well, I mean, you put something on the rundown that I don't know about, and I want to know about it.
Oh, no. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to it because I'm going to lead into it because I'll say this, it's football related. So we're going to get to it.
All right. It's on my rundown, and I'm curious about it.
I want to mention the Sharks won the NHL draft lottery, which good for them. It's the first time in their history that's happened. They were the worst team in hockey. They had the best.
Imagine that.
Chances for that.
The draft lottery worked the way it's supposed to.
Yes, because in years past it hasn't worked that way.
I don't want to talk about that.
But this is good for San Jose, and it's a franchise that has been struggling for a long time. But for the first time ever, they've won the draft lottery.
I mean, they haven't been struggling too long. I mean, it's just about 10 years, right? I mean, they were in the Stanley Cup final just a few years back, which a lot of people don't realize that.
They blew it up.
Yeah, 16 or 17. I can't remember which year it was. But the thing is, Ray, is that it was good. The funny story about this was that John Buchagras accidentally leaked the draft board prior. And everybody went nuts. It's rigged. It's rigged. I'm like, no, guys, it's pre-recorded. There's a difference.
Yeah.
All right. It's not rigged. If that came out 3 weeks ago, I would say it was rigged.
Yes.
It coming out 3 hours or two before the broadcast. It's pre-recorded.
Right.
Right. And it's like, oh, I told you. Like, we told us what? That the draft board, like, it's not a favorable draft board. Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, if the Rangers were number one, which would be impossible, I'd be like, oh, it's rigged.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. If Chicago is number one again, I'd be like, oh, it's rigged.
Then it's, right? Absolutely.
Trust me, nobody at the NHL is thinking, oh, the Sharks would be a great pick for number one because of X. Yeah. It's not a big market team.
No.
All right. So,
but they are a passionate fan base. I will say this.
Huge. Oh, I'm not knocking the fan base. I'm just saying that, like, people just want drama. I mean, they want it. It's like, calm down. It's a pre-recorded draft segment. Like, you think they're going to go on there live and do that? What are you, crazy?
Yeah. No, it's
I think they have done that and it didn't go well.
Yeah, no, exactly. It does.
In fact, if I remember correctly, the Ducks or something, they had the logo upside down one year.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
These are old guys that don't want to look bad. So
exactly. There's a lot of ego in that room on that night.
He leaked it. He leaked it. All right. I don't even know why we have a show for this anyway.
No, that's true. I agree with that also. Like, I
don't care. Just
a waste of it's a waste of time. Yeah. They're desperate for content. Anyway, one other thing, speaking of being desperate for content, a lot going on in the TV world, and this is gaining a lot of steam. This also just broke before the show. This looks like it is a done deal. It is not official yet, so things could change. Yes. But I was seeing reports that this is going to happen, that they are waiting for the end of the season to announce it, but that this is going to happen, that the NBA is leaving Warner Brothers and is going back to NBC, that the $2.5 billion deal will be accepted by the NBA. This is being reported by Ben Simmons and by several other folks, that this is a done deal, that Warner Brothers would not match the $2.5 billion. They would not go over $2 billion. And that the
basketball, give me the ball so I can dunk it.
Yes. That is going to return to the NBC, which also means that the NBA on TNT is going to get blown up because Charles Barkley says he has a clause in his contract that he can go wherever they want. But at Ernie, who is, of course, the host of the show, several of the talents will probably stay. He'll stay with Warner Brothers and TBS/TNT. So that show is going to get broken up and blown up. People are up in arms over this. And I mean, look, it's another bad decision by Warner Brothers because that is what they do. Zaslav. Hey, folks, that's that $2 billion. That's 4 years of Zaslav's salary. He can't spend that money on basketball. So this is a big loss for TNT Sports, TBS. I know they have a little bit of stuff with baseball, and obviously they have a little bit still with hockey, but this is a huge, huge loss for them. And NBC, with the Olympics, with the NFL, now bringing basketball back, needing content for Peacock. We'll get into more of that later. This is a big, if this goes through again, nothing is official, but there are reports coming out today that this is going to be announced as soon as the NBA finals are over. Lee, what are your thoughts on basketball going back to NBC?
I mean, I don't have too many thoughts on it, Ray. I mean, this is the bidding war that has always happened. I mean, WB is in extreme financial stress. That amount of money coming back to them probably does look pretty good.
Yep.
Right. Not to mention, I believe WB is in a hatchet mode and they're going to try and sell. So they're getting rid of everything they can to lower costs and build assets because they're worth billions of dollars as it is. Yep. And I believe they will be acquired in the coming years. And that's exactly why they're not matching this offer, because they know they're going to sell.
Yep.
So I don't care where basketball goes, really. I mean, at the end of the day, this happened in hockey several times. It's happened in football. Let's be honest. In a few years, it's not going to be on network television anyway.
No.
Right? Everything's going digital.
We'll get into that later.
I know. I'm trying to segue to that for you a little bit. Yeah. That'll be in the Geeks section today. But it's one of those things of like, this is business. And, again, I always warn fans, don't get too involved in the business because it can take you away from reality, or the fantasy, I should say, can bring you to reality. Yeah. Because reality, Ray, is a little tough. Sometimes it's like a dark coffee. You know what makes coffee sweetie? You know what makes coffee sweeter, Ray? Splenda. It's something else.
Something else.
I'm not gonna lie. This is a pretty good slogan we've come up with.
We've come up with something. I think this is old. You can do a lot with this. Splenda, call us. I need a job. Yeah. We can help.
Yeah, Splenda. I mean,
but yeah. You know what else is something else? And speaking of all this streaming stuff, there's a lot going on. Amazon announced a lot of stuff today. We'll talk about a couple of the shows later.
Did you get your GameStop stock again, bud? Did you jump on that bandwagon again? Don't do it, people.
No.
AMC movie theaters.
No, I made $40 and I was thrilled and I got the heck out.
Yeah, smart of that. Get it. I remember telling you, get out of this now.
Yeah. So we're not meme stocks. That's definitely no. Don't.
Yes, if you want stock advice, call me. I'll let you know.
Yeah. We'll do. Yeah, we're not going to do a segment on the meme stocks.
No,
we're not. I'm Jim Cramer. Buy, sell, buy, sell. Ah!
Yeah. If you guys play the market that way, you're going to lose. Just long-term investments, 20 years. That's how you have to look at it.
There you go. You know who also wanted to try to get rich quick though? The Chiefsaholic.
Oh yeah.
This Amazon Prime has just announced that they are going to air or have greenlit a documentary on the Chiefsaholic, the man who would go to Chiefs games dressed as this wolf. He was very well known, very passionate Chiefs fan, and then would go rob banks.
Rob a bank, yeah. Genius.
The documentary is called A Wolf in Chiefs Clothing.
That's actually pretty good. That's a good.
It's
well done.
Serious. It's really good.
Somebody at the network was like, "I got this great title. Can we please make this documentary?" That's how that was greenlit.
Yes. So, and supposedly they're going to actually interview the dude from prison or whatever. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. So, yeah, that's an interesting thing. I mean, this was one of the craziest stories from a year ago or a couple years ago. Again, the Chiefs with this amazing run that they've been on 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls, and the Chiefsaholic decides to go rob some banks to pay for his season tickets.
How much did he make? Season tickets aren't that expensive for football.
I mean, they are in Kansas City.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, somebody's got to pay for that new stadium, so maybe he was thinking.
I mean, this is only in America.
Yes,
only in America.
That I think is a fair statement. So. But speaking of football teams, and speaking of
is this Ray's special sports
stat? This is the time for the Ray's special sports
Ray's
stat.
Special sports stat. This is going to be a micro clip for those of you out there in internet land. There we go.
So a lot of folks have lately, and I actually sent you even the picture, have been talking about how since 1970, the New York Jets have won the division title twice.
Ew.
Twice. That's it. In 54 years.
Gangrene.
Yes, yeah. Gangrene, as in they've been completely rotten in their own division and falling off. And that they technically, for 32 years, the Indianapolis and / Baltimore Colts were in that division and won 6 division titles, meaning the Jets in a current 4-team division are 5th all-time in division titles. But Lee, people didn't go far enough. I want to tell you truly how bad the Jets are.
This is Ray's special sports stat.
If you go back to, because before the AFC East, it was the AFL East.
That's true.
Remember? So the 10 previous years, the Jets also had 2 division titles, which gives them 4, still behind the Colts. But in that time, there was another team in the division before the Colts would move into that spot. It was the Houston Oilers / currently Tennessee Titans. The Houston Oilers, in those 10 years in the AFL, won 4 AFC East division titles. So the Jets aren't just 5th all-time in that division. If you include the AFL years, they are tied for 5th because the Tennessee Titans, a team that hasn't been in the division in 54 years, has just as many division titles as the Jets do. That is your special stat. The Jets are tied for 5th all-time in that division. That is how bad they are. A team that has not been in the division for over a half a century has as many AFC, AFL East titles as the Jets do.
Ray, we need to do this in Jeopardy format, don't we? I'll take little-known NFL facts for 400, Alex. Ray, this team is tied with the Tennessee Titans for the least amount of AFC East championships.
Who are the New York Jets?
That played out so weird.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! You know what's funny? There was a time when the Patriots would have been in that conversation, and then that time went away.
And now the Patriots are the winningest team ever.
Yeah.
If you want to know the standings, it's actually the Patriots have 22 division titles,
and I believe they've won more than 5 in a row.
Yes.
Yes. Even more amazing when you think about it.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, the Jets. The Jets, to me, Mets are more successful than the Jets.
Yes.
We always compare those two teams, but the Jets have a culture problem, and they always have.
Yes.
Right. Except for a very short amount of time. For a very short amount of time, that team is. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say it like you did, but they have a loser culture. Right. And I'm not saying Jets fans that you're losers. Ray's saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the culture there is not one of winning. It's a loser
culture.
Yeah.
You take away the 2 division titles and the 1 Super Bowl with Joe Namath.
Yep.
And you have virtually nothing.
Yeah. It's
nothing.
It's tough to be a Jets fan.
It is horrendous.
Yeah. And even when I remember when they got 2 into their coach in, and I mean, it seemed like, oh, maybe they're going to go somewhere here. It just felt like they were stumbling over their own feet the whole time. It's amazing. Yes. I'd love to go in that locker room and see the standards and the procedures. You sent us another story about the Bears, Ray. Like, culture matters in football, in sport. It matters.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking. You sent me an article today about with the Bears, and Nick Foles was trying to kind of teach, and no one's listening to him. It's like, this guy is a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
You might want to listen to him.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. And it's just unbelievable. Like that again, culture, like you said, Lee, is so important. Real quick, want to give you the division standings for the all-time AFL / AFC. The Patriots at the top with 22. The Bills second with 14. The Dolphins third with 13. The Colts, a team no longer in the division, that was only in the division for half of the division's history, has 6 and is in 4th. A team that was only in the division for 10 years. The Oilers / Titans, 5th with 4, and the Jets, who have been there since day 1, also 5th with 4.
That's brutal. That is a brutal special stat that only Ray could bring you to the table.
Yes.
Listen, I do want to comment on something here. How many? You said the Pats have 22?
Correct.
And this is divisional titles.
Division titles, correct.
Man, that shows you how powerful the Yankees World Series title thing really is.
Yes.
Was it 28?
We're on 27 right now.
27 world titles.
Yes.
I don't even know how many division titles they have.
Yeah.
But like that tells you how strong of an organization, a winning culture that is. And there's no other team that rivals that. Maybe outside the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah,
all right,
that's fair.
They're in their high 20s, or I'm sorry,
the Canadiens are 23.
20s.
I want to say 23.
Yeah, I mean,
Stanley Cups. So,
and we're just talking divisional titles right now.
Yeah,
insanity.
Yeah. The Jets have 4 in 64 years.
And somehow they have a Super Bowl.
Well, again, they had that. They literally the one miracle run where, funny enough, the Jets would beat the Colts, and then they had the AFL and NFL will merge, and then the Colts would join.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of crazy when you think of it.
Yeah.
So
all
right, Ray's
I wanted to take that stat a little further than others were taking.
Real quick, Jets fans, you might be feeling a little saucy or bland after that. You know what'll sweeten your day, Ray? Splenda. It's something else.
It's something else.
Jets fans, you need something else? Splenda. It's something else. Also, Ray, little known fact, guess where it's made?
Jersey? Oh, made in USA.
There you go. We can confirm or deny that. Let's see. This is packaged in Indiana, believe it or not.
Oh, all right.
Splenda. It's something else.
It's something else.
Also, really something else.
Speaking of the Jets, real quick, the full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about it next week. But they announced that the Jets, again, will open the season on Monday Night Football against the 49ers. It's deja vu all over again,
Aaron,
folks.
Here's your chance, Aaron.
Aaron Rodgers is going to break his other Achilles now.
Can you imagine if he does something like that? I'm not wishing that on anyone, but wow.
No. Wow. Yeah, for sure. You know what else was wow? X-Men 97. We're moving into geekdom. Yeah.
Ray, I'm gonna say this ahead of the final of the finale, which airs tonight.
Yes, airs tonight.
This is a bold statement I'm about to make, and it could be fortified with episode 10.
Yeah.
I believe this is the best thing Marvel has ever done.
Yeah.
In the Disney Plus MCU era.
Absolutely.
And I am including everything. Endgame, Infinity War, everything. I think this is the best thing they've done. And I'll tell you why I've taken it now over Infinity War, which I love. I've said this to you many times. Infinity War is my number one MCU film.
Right.
Well beyond Endgame. And I loved Endgame, but Infinity War was a special film. Is because it took them 10 years to get to Infinity War. Mm-hmm. And in 10 episodes, they have covered so much ground effectively with tremendous storytelling.
Yeah.
In a way that has made my jaw drop. It has made me feel emotions.
Yeah.
It has made me want Magneto to win.
Yeah.
That's one thing that Thanos never was able to get me on, right? I understood his mission, but
he was never an empathetic villain, like something.
Like we all said, we can kind of get it until you realize you could just double the resources, but you can kind of get it. I mean, Magneto's people have been slaughtered, and now you're like, no, I want him to win.
Yeah.
You have brought back comic book lore, Wild Sentinels, Nimrod, Bastion, that no one really knows about, and you've done it in a way that no one's questioning a Wild Sentinel. Nobody.
No.
Not one person said that's stupid. Not one person.
Nope.
I can go through plenty of MCU movies where people go, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is the best thing Marvel's ever done. And the other thing too, the bigger task, and this is why I think I'm willing to give it the title already, is that the MCU films have an aura. They're films. You're expecting something that's live action. This is a series from the late 90s in which they had to ease into with the familiarity of saying, okay, these characters. Let me show you how awesome these characters are. And then accelerating it to the level of, I can't have my kids watch this.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
This isn't a kid's show.
No.
This isn't I can't watch them watch the genocide of Genosha.
No.
Which that is a better name, but I understand why they didn't pick that.
Yeah.
It's amazing where this has gone. They have, before we even get into episode 9, they've already set up storylines for multiple seasons.
Yes.
This is the best thing Marvel has ever done. Can anybody challenge me on that listening? We'll put this out. It'll make it a microclip. You can tell me there were bigger moments in the MCU for sure. Like the Endgame assemble moment, tough to get above that. I get it. We might see that in episode 10, but tough to get above that.
Yeah.
But in terms of a series in this amount of time with this type of storytelling, in my mind, Ray, this has reestablished the X-Men are better than the Avengers.
Yeah.
And that's not a new thought.
No, it was that way for a very long time.
Forever.
Yeah.
X-Men, Spider-Man. That's the way it was.
Yes.
Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man. Although there are Spider-Men. If you
there are lots of Spider-Men. Yeah. We'll get into that later.
That's another topic for another guy. We're geeks. I want to say that. Challenge me. It's the greatest thing Marvel has ever done. They could screw it up royally tonight, but I just have a feeling that's not going to happen.
I don't think so either. I mean, but like, let's get into the episode. They do so much here. Storm finally comes back. Magneto brings back Asteroid M, his flying base, which is just like,
okay. Let me just dive in on that real quick. I have the X-Men arcade machine in this office. I've teased it many times. Not only is that identical to the game, but there are scenes from the show that are in the game. I played it many times recently. Don't ask me. Many times. And then on top of it, I know you're going to get to this. They brought back the costumes that are in the game. They're also the traditional comic book costumes.
Yeah, they brought back the traditional comic book. Funny enough.
And the original animated series.
Some of them, they brought back the original costumes for the X-Men, but the folks who left the X-Men, Rogue and Sunspot, go with Magneto. They're wearing modern costumes. I thought that was such an interesting touch.
Well,
and by the way, and Magneto goes back to his old costume too, which was fun.
Which was great. Rogue's costume was actually in the original series during her flashback scenes about how she beat up Miss Marvel and
it's interesting because it's like when Rogue goes evil, because that's when she was in working with Mystique. That was her costume, and also in the comics they bring that outfit back later on too. When as Rogue goes back and forth, you can very clearly tell by what she's wearing whose side she's on.
Right. It's true. And then Wolverine in his traditional original costume, which looks great.
Yeah, the maroon and yellow.
It's great, right? Because the yellow is great from my childhood, but the brown and the orange and that's really his original costume. We'll get to Wolverine in a minute, but masterful storytelling. I mean, there's so many great moments too. But I mean, Magneto, when he tells Professor X, spoiler, I guess if you haven't seen it, he says, "Shut up." I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, yeah, man, shut up.
The way he said it too was just so he was just so exhausted of Xavier's BS.
Yeah.
And he just like you could hear it. It was so perfectly voiced. Like you would hear it in his voice, the exhaustion, the anger, the frustration, and then the satisfaction of, like you said, just telling him, shut up.
Yeah. It was so extremely well executed. And again, some of the X-Men turning on Professor X, Rogue, Sunspot turning on Professor X, and you don't blame them. In fact, I don't know if a lot of people saw this, but Rogue is wearing Gambit's jacket for a lot of that episode. And then she puts it on Professor X's shoulder, almost saying, this is your fault.
Yeah.
Right. This is excellent storytelling, just at the absolute peak. And we haven't even gone through all of it yet. Obviously, I'll let you get to the ending of it. There might be some other stuff you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I also love that
Morph Hulk.
That Morph turns himself into Hulk, which I thought was great because I believe that's kind of a second appearance of an Avenger now. We had Captain America earlier.
Yes. Like we'll talk about that in a minute. I believe there will be an assemble moment in this episode today.
Yes, I think we've seen the larger MCU over the last few episodes. We saw Cap, we saw Spider-Man, Silver Samurai, Omega Red. Now this is a more indirect reference, but obviously a reference now to Hulk. So, their existence in the larger MCU is there, or possible existence in the MCU, which I think is really, really great. They split the teams up into blue team, gold team, which of course is a very great reference to the 90s comics. And then the big moment where I literally screamed when I saw this because I can't believe they did it.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did, but I couldn't believe they did it. It's the Fatal Attraction moment where Magneto rips the adamantium off of Wolverine's skeleton. And just the most painful, blood-curdling scream. And the moment between them and the rivalry coming to an end and just what's going to happen now. I can't believe they went there and they did it amazingly perfect.
I mean, and the lead up to that when Wolverine impales Magneto.
Yeah,
and they made it very like, oh, did he just kill Magneto? And nobody's thinking that like here, but then all of a sudden you see Magneto get his senses. And I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna do this. And then they started as like, oh my God, they're gonna do this. And then and an ode to the comic. And this is another reason why it's the best thing Marvel's ever done. They're smart enough not to try and recreate this.
Yeah.
It just goes to a still shot, heavily referencing Fatal Attraction. I'd say it was a little more G-rated than Fatal Attraction, where you can kind of really see it coming out of his body.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how it ends. It ends on a still screen of Wolverine having his skeleton basically ripped out of his body. And for those of you listening, go look up that picture if you haven't seen it. It's basically what you think. He turns all the adamantium into like spaghetti and throws it out of his body. Thus, and again, yes, Logan heals from this, but he has no adamantium on his body.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a storyline for next season. He's sidelined. He can't fight. Yeah. I mean, if he's involved in this final episode, I'm shocked. Most likely he's going to be on a medical bay, not able to do anything because he's healing from this.
Yeah, right? No, this. I mean, obviously Wolverine's not dead, but this is definitely.
Well, the only other comparable moment for Wolverine that I can think of is when Stamford, Connecticut was blown up in an atomic explosion and he was there, right? And he basically had to regenerate his body from the skeleton, which doesn't make any sense, but it did happen.
Yeah.
Right. This is
Speedball goes basically nuclear.
Yeah. It was funny. I remember I was working in Stamford, Connecticut when that happened, and I was like, come on. But this is one of the biggest moments in Wolverine's arc ever.
Yeah.
And they did it in X-Men 97. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
I believe, and Ray, you didn't contest me on it, so I'm just going to assume you're agreeing. It's the best thing Marvel has ever done. I'm sure we could have a healthy debate about it, but you can't deny it. I mean, I don't know anything they've done.
It's immediately in the top 3 conversation. Like you have to sit down and maybe really look at it. But like, folks, I have not been so excited to watch something every week in years like this. Like,
I mean, amongst the TV shows, I mean, the only thing that's in the conversation is Loki.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But I didn't even look forward to that as much as I'm looking forward to this.
No.
There have been movies I've looked forward to, but that's a different medium.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to say it again, Ray, what they've been able to accomplish in really 6 hours, I mean, not even 5 hours.
Yeah.
Is insane. It's insane.
Every episode is 30 to 35 minutes. That's it.
We'll just say 6 hours to keep it even. It's insane what they've done here. This is expert storytelling.
Yeah. And they're just
feel for these characters.
Yeah.
You feel for them. Again, it's about time that American animation is caught up to this level of storytelling that we've had in Japan and Asia for decades, right? So X-Men 97, we'll have our final, I guess, call that next week. But I want everyone listening, debate me. Can you think of anything better that they've done? And again, I'm talking about a complete kind of package here. This is something special. And again, obviously I have a lot of nostalgia for this series. X-Men has always been my favorite property by 10 miles. Ray knows that. I've always loved it. Again, my son's name is Logan, so I might be a little bit biased, but no one's been able to say I'm wrong. In fact, all they say is that's really high praise. I said it really is. I really mean it.
Yeah, it. So I mean, to do this from Fatal Attractions, just and where they're gonna go. Well, I think there's gonna be a cliffhanger tonight.
Where do you think they're gonna go from here?
I think tonight's gonna be a cliffhanger. And I think that it's not going to get resolved until they'll tie up some loose ends tonight, but I think we're going to have a big cliffhanger and they're not going to tie. It's not almost like Loki season 1 and it's not going to complete until X-Men 97 season 2.
I think there's several storylines. One is going to be Logan being sidelined.
Yeah.
Okay. And where's he going? Like, again, they purposely didn't make this season about Wolverine.
Yeah.
Which makes me think they're saving that now. Like that's going to be because he is the most popular of the X-Men by far.
Yes.
The second thing is the Bastion storyline. Are they going to complete that tonight? That I believe that they will.
I think they will save the world. I think they will do that. But I think you're going to see, like you said, Wolverine fall out. I think Cyclops is going to leave Professor Xavier, and I think he's going to strike out on it. I think Cyclops is going to leave too. Like I think Cyclops and Jean are going to go off.
Well, I wonder if Wolverine goes with them, right? And here's the other one too is that
Storm becomes the full leader of the X-Men.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. The other thing too is this with Bastion now, the situation is this: you kind of missed this last week if you're not really paying close attention, but his operation is extremely weakened at this point. He's basically controlling the Sentinels on his own. He has no global power. The Prime Sentinels are gone.
No, Magneto's EMP did the job.
He's very defeatable, and I believe what's going to happen, Ray, and we kind of alluded to this, is the Avengers are going to show up. I think the Avengers are going to show up That's why Cap was in an episode a few weeks ago, and they kind of left him on. What are you going to do? And I think you're going to see an animated Avengers, which opens up the door for them to now come into an animated MCU in a lot of different ways. The other big cliffhanger that is so far down the line of cliffhangers in this show right now, but they did say it, is where is Bishop?
Yeah.
So this is what I believe is going to happen. There is a storyline where Scott and Madeline, I don't know how they're going to do this. This is why I think this is going to happen. Follow me. I'm predicting this right now. Scott and Madeline actually go to the future and raise Nathan. There is a comic book where they're able to go spend his youth with him.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if Scott and Madeline, through some time of time stream, maybe Cable does go back to that night and gets Madeline. That's why she's presumed dead. We don't actually see her dead.
In the comics, she comes back as like her ghost comes back and like kind of represents.
Right.
There's a whole lot of stuff. Well, Madeline is so complicated.
Well, I'm going to say it again. They never show her dead. So
That's true.
I think that it would be nice if they offered Scott the opportunity to go to the future and raise Nathan, right?
Yeah.
Who becomes Cable, and Cable would not be able to tell him that, right? At
Right.
any point. That's one storyline I'd like to see. Again, where's Bishop? Bishop's probably going to show up at some point.
And here's the other thing. You got to remember, depending on the universe, Cable is in many different versions.
Right.
What if we get Strife?
Right.
Which is the evil Cable? What if we get X-Man, which is where Nate coming back as a teenager after being part, like there's so much you can do so much with time travel with the X-Men because there's so many in the alternate universe.
Well, and I'm going to say I think that there's going to be an element of that because they've mentioned many times Bishop's not here. Where's Bishop? Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bishop goes back in time, grabs Madeline, grabs Scott, gets him the hell out of there to raise Nathan. Not only would that actually close the loop on that, that should be a pretty nice ending. And then I think there'll be a rise of a new villain, probably, Galactus or something like that. Maybe. I mean, I think they'll defeat Bastion and we'll be moving on to whoever is next.
Well, and I think also, don't forget, we mentioned him earlier in the season and he had a cameo. Vulcan is still with the Shi'ar.
Right.
And if his brainwashing comes undone, just like in the comics, the Shi'ar, they're not gone, folks. Just because Professor X left, they're not gone. Right. In fact, actually, I could see them coming back also and being like, "You left our queen at the altar. You are an enemy." Like, there's so much that could be like going on with them.
The fact that there's endless possibilities for one episode is pretty amazing. The only other show that we were not able to predict the ending was Loki. Every other show had a very predictable, and actually no, even WandaVision, you predicted the ending of that, right? Which was a long shot. Man, I remember thinking they won't do that, and they did.
And they did.
By the way, where the hell is he at? Right?
Where's Vision? Where's Vision?
Yeah, Vision's just disappeared.
He's with the Eternal, Dead Eternal in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, just hanging out. But I'm excited to see where this goes. I do think there'll be some time travel. I know everybody knows I love time travel, but I think that's going to play a role into it. I have no doubt. I don't think they would have shown Cable trying to save Madeline if that wasn't going to come back in this episode.
Yeah. Right.
That's why I think that there's that's a waste of a scene if not.
Yeah.
Right. And again, now we know the Watcher there means that's like an incursion moment that it happens in every universe.
Right. You can't prevent that.
You can't change it. So we'll see. I think Wolverine has his own path. I think Scott and Madeline have their own path. And I think the X-Men have to, reorganize. And I don't know where Professor X plays into this. I believe at the end of the episode, Magneto will reverse the EMP.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
But I also think he might leave and be like, I'm done with this planet. Goodbye.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think there's a lot that could happen. And by the way, we also still have evil Cable right now under Mr. Sinister's mind control.
Oh yeah, it's a good point. Like they're fighting. He's fighting Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, who knows? I'm sorry, sir. Gold Team needs more time.
Yeah. And that's why I think Cyclops is going to leave because he's
a point of contention for sure.
Like, yeah, he's like
something is going to happen because Professor X is now not able to use his mind.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen for Magneto to flip back.
Yeah.
Or he'll die. They'll kill him. That's the other one. They could kill him.
I mean, and then you set up I think that when he comes back, then Zorn. You could set up Zorn later.
There's a lot of places they can go from here.
Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens for sure. So that's the animated Marvel universe. We also have some news from the MCU. Big casting, literally big. Ralph Ineson has been cast as Galactus.
He's been cast as not Kang.
Not Kang.
Everybody, look over here. Look over here.
Yeah. We know another big bad. His name's Galactus.
You guys know me. You guys know me. I eat worlds. Kang is small stuff.
Nobody cares
Literally
about
smaller
Kang.
than Ant-Man.
Like, I got this galactic hunger thing. I can't satiate it. I got to eat. So, yes, that's a big deal. He's a great actor, classically trained. I think it's gonna be interesting. I could see him with the giant purple helmet and whatnot, and needing to really bring that gravitas to this role. So.
Yeah, look, Galactus is a huge thing. We know about Silver Surfer already. With Marvel pulling back to 2 or 3 movies a year, probably going to rely on TV shows a little bit more. It's an interesting move. I think they're doing the right thing in slowing down.
Also announced the Agatha. Yeah, the Agatha show is going to finally drop later this year. Which wanted to drop that note. Continue, please. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I wonder if Vision returns in that. It's like keep it congruent, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that show's bringing back Scarlet Witch. Who knows? But Galactus is a great villain. I'm interested to see how they're going to move Kang aside.
Yeah.
You have a real problem there, and it's either swept under the rug or recasting. It's really kind of. I mean, it's not the first time they recasted. So
the thing is they could just really kind of leave it be and tie it off, because they kind of left it in a play like. It's less of an open-ended thing than, again, the Eternal in the middle of the Indian Ocean right now. Like,
the other thing too is with time and time displacement, they could attack whenever.
Yeah,
that was always the problem with that storyline is, well, we're going to attack them at this point in history, but it's why would you do that there? So that's the problem with all supervillains. There's always a huge open gap of like, well, why don't you just do this? But we'll see. Again. I also think Fantastic Four plays a major role in this, and Doctor Doom is going to come in, and they're going to be like, "Hey, look over here! Look over here! C-3PO over here! Hey!"
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be great to see what they're doing with that. And speaking of alternate universes, it has been confirmed that Nicolas Cage is going to be playing a live-action Spider-Man noir on Amazon Prime.
Brilliant.
That is going to happen. That is going forward. The idea is that basically he's a private investigator dealing with his past as a web slinger and the only superhero in that universe. Spider-Man.
Batman.
Spider-Man noir.
He's a detective.
Nicolas Cage, Spider-Man noir.
He's got a bad past.
Yeah.
He's Batman.
He's Spider-Man.
He's black and white. It's Batman.
He's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
noir, alternate universe.
It's Spider-Man noir. No, listen here. I'm all for this. He did such a great job in that, and who wouldn't want to see that? As long as they don't go too serious with it, it works.
Yes, yeah.
I do like the idea of he's the only superhero in the world. We don't see enough stories like that.
Right. Yeah, I agree, and that's the thing, right? Is like he could be doing, again, even in the video games that he's in. It's like he's always been like very, very grounded as a Spider-Man, like taking on Hammerhead and the Mafia and Kingpin and whatnot like that, right? There's no even really super villains in his universe, right? It's really just him kind of really taking on corruption and street level crime. So
I don't know if I needed a live action version of it, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious to see how it works. Also coming to Prime, this also just was announced, a greenlit Tomb Raider TV series is coming to Amazon. Announced. Well, I think they saw the success with Fallout, and I think that if you do the right property and get the right writers, that Amazon's like, yeah, we're the nerd streaming service. Come on, we've got Invincible, we've got The Boys, we've got Fallout, we've got Tomb Raider, we've got Spider-Man Noir. Come to Amazon Prime, Hey, we also have football. Hey, geeks who like sports, go watch Amazon Prime.
I have Amazon Prime, right?
I don't have Amazon Prime.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not even just the network; it's the savings on Amazon.
Yes, I don't order anything from Amazon.
I know, but you will, Ray. You will.
No, because I what I hate? I hate all their trucks on my freaking side street every freaking day because they cause traffic.
Now you listen here, old man Costello. You don't tell Amazon to get off your lawn. They make your lawn. Delivery is free. Look,
if Amazon wants to give me a lawn and get me out of my 1-bedroom apartment, then maybe I'll go do something with Amazon. But until that happens,
I'm gonna. You know what? Over under, Ray. Do you think I could buy a lawn on Amazon? Let's see. This is going to be a little bit of a.
No, I think you could. They have artificial turf.
I bet you I could get real grass on here. Hold on. Let's see. Lawn. Well, I should say lawn grass. I'm just gonna search lawn grass. Let's see if I can actually get this. So Scott's is all over the place.
And seeds and stuff.
Artificial. You get the seeds pretty easily. I'm like synthetic. I bet you. What do they call that grass again when you buy it in like the thing in the roll here? The synthetic.
I don't know.
Look, I'm just gonna say there's plenty of grass options on here.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Well, I mean, look, we have a lot of grass in LA, but it's the kind you smoke.
I was gonna say, let's see if I can get the other grass on here, huh? No, I mean, there's nothing you can't get on Amazon. I'm gonna search your name on here, Ray. Let's see what happens when I want to buy Ray Carsillo.
You didn't laugh, and I'm so sad. You didn't. That was a good joke, and you didn't laugh at it.
I made the same joke right back.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I said, maybe I can get the other grass on here.
Oh yeah, well that's what I said. We got grass in LA.
Simultaneous laugh. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Okay, we're good.
I searched Ray Carsillo on Amazon just to see what would come up.
Please don't.
First thing is The Rising of the Shield Hero Part 1, the original Japanese version.
Because I did a dubbing on that.
Ray, you're on Amazon, man. You're on Amazon. Look at that. Number 2.
For those who don't know, that thing that Lee just said, I did background voices for that. So
there's a lot of stuff on here when I search Ray Carsillo. A lot of it's in Italian too, that doesn't surprise me. There's one on here that's a little. I'll show this to you later. There's a terrifying priest man with a weird looking face, which I don't know what's going on there. Don Camillo, that's what it is.
I was gonna say that's not Ray Carsillo. There you go. That's
Don Camillo. That's amazing. Ray Carsillo, you're on Amazon, so you're not even on the platform that you're hating on so much. I mean, if I search my name, my books are going to come up, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm impressed that some of the anime that I was in came up on there. So.
Right, Amazon. It is the new Globotech. It is the new what's that thing from Wall-E where they took over the world? By and large, I forgot the name of it. That's the company.
There you go. There you go. So
Amazon Prime.
You can get anything on Amazon Prime. You know, the one thing though is that Amazon is not part of, at least so far, is there's not a bundle.
Networks coming together to be cable.
It's just call it cable, folks. I think we're all making the same joke. I saw 4 other people make that joke on Twitter today, even though I made it a week ago.
The only cable I want to hear about right now is on X-Men 97.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, the cable that we're getting is Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max have announced a bundle that will be coming out this summer.
How much is it? How much is it?
They have not announced that yet.
$39.99. That's my guess.
How much?
$39.99.
I think that's a fair assessment. That's kind of I think $40 is your over under. So I think that I don't think it'll be more than 40, but I could definitely see that. And then now, literally just before we started recording, Comcast, they've announced a bundle that'll be Peacock, Apple Plus, and Netflix.
There's your wrestling coming into the play too.
Yep, absolutely. So you've got 3 major streaming services being bundled together. Just call it cable, folks, because
that's new cable.
Point, yeah, it's new cable.
Wait, you remember when we were in college, Ray, and they had this thing called New Media, which was all about videos on the internet?
Yeah.
This is new media.
The new media. It's
new
new old media. It's new old media.
Old media. The NOM. That's like a whole wrestling thing.
Nom.
We've cracked it. We've cracked it, Ray. The nom.
We have, ladies and gentlemen, we have come up with 2 amazing slogans for all this stuff today. We got Splenda. It's something else. And now we have new old media that you will consume. Nom.
Oh my God, we did it. Nom.
We are, folks. You have to hire us as consultants at the very least.
Listen, we're damn good at what we do.
Yeah.
All right. We just came up with $2 billion ideas for you. Just pick us up. All we want to do is be on the radio.
That's it. I just want to make a living, folks.
We just want to get on the radio, get paid. You're listening to us. You're listening to us out there.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the street in 6 months, so I really need a job.
Oh, no, you'll be on my couch playing X-Men. And that's where he spent the rest of his days, playing the X-Men arcade cabinet. Lee, in his infinite wisdom, also brought in another arcade cabinet, Capcom versus Marvel, in which Ray and Lee battled till they were in the ripe old age of 47, where they both passed away from not eating and only consuming nom. I'm David Attenborough. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So you know what else is also starting to spread into, well, first off, Lee, do you have any thoughts on, are we surprised this is the way things are going?
We predicted it.
Yeah,
I predicted it. What are you talking about? We predicted this for years.
I know.
All right. The oil's out of the ground. You got your Exxon and you got your other company, and that's the way it's going to be.
And that's it.
No, I'm not surprised. I do think that this is, joking aside, This is an evolved, a la carte, better version of TV.
Yes.
Like I said, we're complaining about it, what it's called, but this is so much cooler than what we grew up with in the sense that you have a choice and technology wins. And I think that's cool. And again, I still think that the next thing coming is, virtual reality, but that's probably 5-10 years away.
I would agree with that. Once the headsets get cheaper and they start to get better stuff on them, I agree with that. But speaking of video games and speaking of dual media.
This one pisses me off.
EA has announced they are experimenting with the idea of having in-game ads in their next games. They're working on the next Battlefield, which is will be they're already kind of.
We have to get over that ridge, but first let's put some Splenda in our English tea, because Splenda, it's something else.
We've got folks. This just kind of shows that how lost the game industry is right now. If they were to put in-game ads into look, some mobile games already have this, but it's a little different with mobile games because it's free to play and you get it. You play a match, you have to watch an ad. You play a match, you have to watch an ad. If this were to hit on Xbox and PlayStation and PC and Switch, I think there might be a revolt because people are already kind of had enough with the industry. There were more layoffs just yesterday. Square Enix announced they're going to have a bunch of layoffs. CI Games over in Europe announced they're going to have a bunch of layoffs. Folks, it is getting worse before it gets better, and ad revenue is not going to be the thing that saves the game industry. You know what's going to save the game industry? Making good games. Make good games, and you people will buy the games again.
It's funny. My son asked me the other day, Dad, are you like Nintendo or this other company? I said, Nintendo. They make good games. Right. Here's what I would say about this. I would be, broad statement here, I would be for in-game ads if NHL hockey by EA Sports was a 5-year subscription. I would understand it then.
Yes.
If I don't have to buy the game every year and it's hey, listen, you're going to buy an annual subscription to EA NFL or Madden, whatever you want to call it. All right. And it's $39.99 a year. It's cheaper than the game, but we have some in-game ads, which you can turn off for a premium.
Sure.
Right. But this is your subscription to Madden every year.
Yep.
I think you'd make more money doing that.
I think you would too. I think you're absolutely 100% right.
Or check this out, Ray. If you got the 4-game package.
Oh, well, yeah, here's the thing. That'd be great. Do college football, Madden, NHL, and FIFA for $100 a year.
Done.
People would buy that in a heartbeat.
And auto-renew.
Exactly. Hey, NBA for 2K, NBA and WWE.
Got guaranteed revenue here.
The only one...
I can't do it for you, people. I can't keep doing it for you, all right?
We've just solved 3 problems in 1 hour show. Hour and 15 minutes.
Well, we had a little start. Yeah. I'm telling you, Ray, it's here we are. We're something else.
We are Splenda. Welcome to the Splenda show. We're something else.
Yeah. Splenda, you got to sponsor us, man. Come on. Help us out.
We have been churning out gold today.
I know. This is better than gold.
This is better than gold.
We're just ripping the adamantium out.
That's it. We're extracting it like Magneto.
We're just ripping it out.
We're extracting it like Magneto. That's it. Fatal attractions.
Seriously, though, and all jokes aside, no, I'm not for in-game ads, but I would be understanding of it in a subscription-based model. I think a lot of people would. It's almost like actual sports at that point. So, not to mention EA. I'm sorry to keep giving you this idea. If you do a multi-sport bundle, guess what people are playing year-round? Your games. Yeah. And you could easily throw in other EA games into this bundle.
Yep.
Just an EA Play Pass. You could go $200 a year if you wanted to.
Well, that's the thing. They have the EA All Access, but the thing is that there's nothing on it right now.
Well, that's not all access.
Well, that's the thing. It's just their backlog. I don't think that's the thing. People don't want the backlog necessarily. They want the new stuff.
Right.
And they don't make enough new stuff aside from sports.
That's why I said it's not an archive. It's a subscription.
Yeah.
All right. And get this, you could throw in some real world prizes with this thing. There's a lot you can do.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away. We're worth too much.
Seriously, guys, call us, please.
Before we keep complaining, the mashup this week, we're going to have some fun with this because so many coaches are getting fired. We're going to talk about what superheroes are most likely to get fired, hired, which is not as easy as you think. It's very easy to be like, oh, that guy would get fired. but real coaches get fired and hired a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And again, like, there's some, this guy will get hired a lot. Well, he might not get fired a lot. So we're going to have some fun with that on the mashup this Saturday on your local listings. Check it. We're on every major provider, including Amazon.
Yes. And also want to mention, because there's a chance you won't see us before we do this. Next week, we're going to be live on the Geek Saga.
Oh, yes, we are.
5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Over on their YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook channels. So stay tuned to that, everybody. Eugene.
Child play for people like you and me, Ray.
Yeah, it's nothing. We are Vigo. Yeah, no, it'll be fun. It'll be good go see Eugene, who again, of course, we mentioned the shout out a couple of times from when I did the live show over at Golden Apple Comics a couple of weeks ago for Free Comic Book Day. So we're gonna be live on his show next Wednesday, the 22nd. So this way you guys can go check that out as well. Yes.
Live.
Yeah, live live. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, so that should be fun. We haven't been live in a while. So that should be a good one. And Eugene's a good dude. So
I don't know why we don't make mistakes on the show.
That is true.
You just go live all the time. I'm just kidding, Ray. I'm just joking. Here we go.
There's a lot of pressure. There's extra pressure. Technical things. There's technical things.
That's why we need someone to bring us on board so they can deal about the things and we can just talk.
Yes, exactly.
It's like we're professionals or something.
I don't talk as well when there's technical things to do.
Oh, you don't talk well when anything's bothering you.
That's true. That's very true. Yes, I have to clear. That's the thing. Folks, you don't realize I have to I go into a Zen state like 30 seconds before the show and I just clear my head.
Yeah, in fact, when I came on, for those of you watching, Rage was just like this.
Yeah.
And then we just started the show. I didn't realize we were starting. We started, and I was like, all right,
I didn't realize either. We didn't call it Professor X. Xavier did not. He just said, I'm going to start. Ooh.
Another time, I will tell you about. That's exactly what happened today. He just started the show, but he's the producer.
But we were ready. It's fine. We were good. We were going to go.
I will tell you about the time on another episode about when I was invited onto a Zoom call. It ended up being a show with a lot of people on it, and I was just there and live, and I executed. It was funny. I did fine, but I was like, all right, there we go.
You gotta go. Yeah.
All right.
No, I was at my theater group last night. Actually, one of my friends who went to the live show, and they were basically like, he's like, man, you just turn it on, don't you?
Yeah,
and
I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I have to, when the light turns green, the trap is clean. But also I just go.
Wow, you couldn't help yourself with that. All right, end the show. We'll see you on the mashup on Saturday.
Yes. Thank you everybody for watching. We really, really appreciate it. As always, that's Lee. I'm Ray. We really appreciate it. And this has been another terrific, amazing, gold idea filled episode of Geeks Who Like Sports. We'll see you all on Saturday for the mashup. Good night, everybody.